Welcome to Fast Food Friday. Let's go into the weekend with a treat. Every child of the 80s and 90s probably remembers certain McDonald's staples like their playground and that godforsaken hamburger that conducted heat and always felt like 100 degrees inside. Some locations had this conveyor system that always fascinated me for sending food to the drive-thru. And of course, there were the seasonal favorites like the Shamrock Shake, the McRib, and the Halloween Pails. The latter debuted in 1987 with an orange witch, pumpkin, and ghost, before the witch was colored green and the ghost white in 1989. All three proved super popular throughout the 80s and 90s before disappearing about 6 years ago and returning in 2022. Mickey D's tried all sorts of replacements for the Pails like vinyl glow-in-the-dark trick-or-treat bags or new buckets featuring Ronald McDonald, Grimace, and the Hamburglar, but none proved as popular as the originals. So, as has become tradition of late, McDonald's is reintroducing a childhood favorite of Gen Xers and Millennials for all of us who grew up with Reaganomics and grunge rock to get a nostalgia high. They're back for a limited time from October 18th through Halloween Day or while supplies last. I ended up getting the Ghost Pail, and since the food is the same as a normal Happy Meal, the pail actually counts as a toy, I'll focus on the bucket itself. Overall, it's about the same as the vintage version. While the 90s Witch was more detailed than its modern counterpart with a black hat for a lid, the Ghost is more or less identical. The biggest difference I can see is that the older one had a lid, and at least the one I got doesn't, instead relying on this little sliver and a sticker sheet to cover the top. So Mickey D's might have cheaped out a tad, but for the most part, these are the same pails we all remember from our childhoods. Now, the biggest problem, of course, is that despite the obvious nostalgia draw, and unlike the adult Happy Meals, which are something else completely different, these are clearly aimed at kids. I mean, the only way you can get one of these, other than eBay, is as the toy for a Happy Meal, so unless a hamburger or a 4 or 6-piece nugget and fries is enough to fill you, you'll probably at least want to get some extra food with your 80s and 90s nostalgia. Though for many of you, me included, the pail itself is probably worth the cost of the Happy Meal on its own, so there's that. So get out there and grab this blast from the past before it disappears, possibly for good, but probably not. As always, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and have a great weekend.